Hey there, welcome to PHLEARN. My name is Aaron Nace. Today we are removing people from the backgrounds of our images, and we're going to do it with the brush tool. It's going to be awesome. Let's jump into Photoshop. So here's our image for today. Our subject looks great, but we've got some distracting people here in the background, and we want to get rid of them. Now, they're out of focus, and this allows us to use one of my favorite tools to get rid of objects, and it's the brush tool. Now, here's why we're going to use the brush tool for this tutorial. Let's go ahead and start off with another tool. Let's try the spot healing brush tool, which is a very common object removal tool. So I'm going to create a new layer, okay? We're going to hit J for the healing brush tool, and I'm just going to go right here to the spot healing brush tool. Now, if I just start painting over these people, there we go. You can see I'm trying to get rid of them. There we go. Let's just completely paint over these people. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Not a bad method, but you can see it's just getting really confused and it doesn't really look that good. It's bringing some of my subject in. Let's try getting rid of these people here. We're going to paint over them back there. There we go. We're just met with this kind of like a blobby mess that it does not look natural at all, because the spot healing brush tool is really actually great for areas that have a lot of detail, but for like backgrounds and things that are out of focus, the tool doesn't do that well. It just gives you this blotchy mess that doesn't look realistic. So because we're looking for more of a softer effect, the brush tool is actually fantastic for this purpose. So let's delete that layer. We're going to create a new layer, and we're going to hit B for the brush tool. Now, here's the workflow with the brush tool. B for the brush tool, you want to right click here and just choose the size of your brush. You want to choose it about the size that you need to paint. You can use your open and close brackets to do that. And then your hardness, I recommend leaving this at 0. Okay, if you want a soft edge brush. If you want it to have like slightly harder edges, I just make the brush smaller and it kind of works like harder edges. Okay, there we go. Now the other thing we want to pay attention to is our brush flow. So I always keep my brush opacity at 100%. I just change my flow. So like a high brush flow, for instance, let's just go right down here. I'm going to grab this color from her lips. If I go with a high brush flow, like I'm at 70% right now, okay, it's going to show a lot of red. If I change my flow here to 10%, which you can do by hitting Shift 1, so 1 through 10 on your keyboard will change your brush opacity. Shift 1 through 10 will change your brush flow. So if I hit Shift 1, now look at this. But if I want more, all I have to do is paint over the same area more and more and more, and I can kind of build up that effect. Okay? It's a really good way to just kind of create a natural looking effect with a brush tool. Use flow. All right, let's go ahead and delete that. Now, here's the other issue that we're going to run into is if I just take the brush tool, I'm on a new layer, B for the brush tool, and I sample this color and just start painting it in. All right, okay, I'm able to get rid of these people quite well. But you're gonna see everywhere I paint, we don't have any of this nice like grain or noise detail, okay? Let's just zoom in so you can see it. I painted here with the brush tool, looks great, got rid of the people, but look right over here, this is the noise detail from the original photo. Okay, I'm laughing because I'm slightly deranged. Didn't get a lot of sleep last night, but more so I'm laughing because we can add this noise back to this area, and I'm excited to show you the technique. All right, so let's go ahead and name our layers. I'm just gonna call this layer Paint. Don't worry, you guys can download the sample image and this PSD completely for free. Just follow the link right down below. Okay, so we're gonna call this layer Paint, and then I'm gonna create a new layer right above it, and we're gonna double click, I'm gonna call that Noise. Now, I can't add a noise filter onto a blank layer because there's no information right there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a 50% gray layer. And then I'm gonna be able to change the blending mode of that to make the gray invisible. Sounds complex, but you'll get it. Okay, so we just created a new layer, blank layer, called it noise. Now we're gonna go to Edit and down here to Fill. That brings up our fill dialog. And where it says fill, you're gonna choose Contents. Just go down to where it says 50% gray and hit OK. Fantastic. So we just have a gray layer that's covering up everything. Now, at this point, what I want to do is change this into a smart object. And the reason there is because I want to be able to change my noise filter at any time. And with smart objects, you can change filters at any time. That's the whole point of smart objects and filters. So let's check it out. right here on my noise layer, we're gonna right click and I'm gonna go all the way down here. There it is, convert to a smart object. Cool. So now that it's a smart object, we're gonna go to normal, and I'm gonna change this down to soft light. So right here, you're gonna see soft light, boom. So a 50% gray layer set to soft light actually just becomes invisible. So if I turn this off and on, you can see nothing happens. Okay, so it's not useful yet, but we need to add the noise filter. So here's how we do it. We're gonna go to filter, and down here to noise, and over here to add noise. There we go. Now with this add noise filter, I'm just gonna crank it way up so you can see like what happens when you do it wrong. So our noise layer is way too noisy, right? It does not look natural, we don't want that. But because I used a smart object and this little icon tells me it's a smart object, then I have smart filters, and under that I have add noise. So I can double click here on add noise, and then I can simply change my amount later. So I can do this at any time, okay? And I wanna do this so I can match the noise of my original photograph. All right, that's looking pretty good. Super, super cool. So this is all the setup, but let's just turn this noise off and on. So you can see this is the layer here where I just literally painted with the brush tool, this paint layer. And then this layer is where I painted with the noise. And you can see it makes it look much more realistic. Okay, now here's the other super neat thing. If I want this noise, I don't need it to be visible everywhere, right? I only want that noise to be visible where I'm gonna paint with my brush tool. So I can use a tool called a clipping mask, which allows the noise layer to only be visible where the layer underneath it is visible. Super cool. Okay, so I'm on my noise layer here, just right click right next to it, and then scroll way, way, way down until you see create clipping mask. Go ahead and click on that. It's gonna push your layer over to the right. I got a little down arrow and it's pointing at paint. Okay, basically we're set up now. All it's gonna do is it's gonna make this noise layer only visible wherever I paint. So let's give it a shot. I'm gonna click on my paint layer and let's just try, I'm gonna grab this red color here, try this red color, and I'm gonna paint it in here, and look at like, wow, how cool is that? Like wherever I paint that red in, it already looks like a photo, right? That's amazing. If I turn this noise layer off, it doesn't look like that. It just looks like red paint, right? But with that noise layer, it really helps out. All right, so let's go ahead and undo. I don't actually need all that red there, but that's how we're set up. Now, the other thing that we can do, and we're gonna get really specific here. Now, you might notice that the noise we just made is a little bit more colorful than the noise of my photo, and it's also a little bit sharper. But check this out, because we have smart filters enabled with my noise, I can actually fix both of those things. We're gonna give this noise a little bit of a blur. So let's go to Filter, down here to Blur, and over to Gaussian Blur. Now, we just need a tiny little blur like 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.3 pixels. Oh, that's already looking much better. So I'm at 0.3 pixels. There we go. Let's hit OK. And then I can actually desaturate this noise as well. So we're just going to hit Control or Command U for hue saturation, and I'm just going to bring down the saturation of the noise. See, look, I can drag up or down, and I'm like able to basically perfectly match this like fake noise that I just made to the actual noise of the photograph. Let's hit OK. Now, look at this. You can't really tell the difference now, right? Like this noise now looks like that noise. And if I need, maybe I just need a tiny bit more blur, hit OK. I can just try 0.04. And I can change these settings at any time, right? There's smart filters on a smart object layer. So I think we're looking really good now. Maybe I want to up my contrast a little bit. All right, so I'm just going to hit Control or Command L, bring my lights up a little bit and my darks up a little bit. There we go. This is just getting fun, right? Like I can really match this noise. And again, boom, turn them all off and on at the same time. All right, maybe I went a little bit too much with the levels. I know this is quite a setup, but this is a really helpful technique to know how to do. Definitely a little bit advanced, but very, very useful, because now, check it out, I'm totally set up. And by the way, you guys can download this PSD, and then you could just copy this noise layer onto any one of your images. So, you know, it's for free. Just follow the link right down below. So I have my noise layer, okay, and I have my paint layer. So now check this out. Wherever I paint with my brush tool, it's just gonna already have that noise in it. So if I wanna paint over these subjects, like B for the brush tool, and I just start painting in here. Look at this. It has the noise built into it because it's coming from that noise layer right above it. So now it's actually incredibly easy to do like object removal and have that noise built in, because literally I'm just dragging the brush tool, hold Alt or Option to sample. There we go. Boom. Now I'm gonna actually paint over top of my subject a little bit here. And the reason I'm doing that is because if I just try to go like right to the edge of my subject, it's gonna be like difficult, and I'm gonna always wind up with these little areas that just don't look that natural. So it's actually better to just paint over top of your subject and then mask them out later. And I'll show you how to do it. It's super easy. You just use Select Subject. So like literally, I'm just using my brush tool, hold Alt or Option to sample a color and just paint it in. How cool is this? So I know it was kind of a bit of a work in the setup, but now that we're all set up, like boom, beautiful, smooth background detail, easily remove our subjects. And then we can just kind of come in and have fun with the brush tool. Also, this gives you great brush tool practice, and you might be surprised to hear that the brush tool is used a lot in object removal and retouching, okay? There are obviously super powerful tools in Photoshop, but knowing how to use the brush tool effectively, and especially if you can use like these noise techniques to add texture back over it, it's gonna help you out in so many situations where those powerful tools like the spot healing brush tool, they just don't do that great of a job, right? Like we showed you earlier in this demo, the spot healing brush tool isn't really what you want for something like this, because it just creates like a really blotchy effect. Okay, now if you want to paint straight up or down or left or right, all you have to do is hold down the Shift key and you can just paint straight up or down. So that's going to help with like architecture details and other things like that. There we go. So we're just going to add a little, you know, fake door detail there. I don't know what's back there, but it's out of focus, right? So, you know, we just, it does not have to be perfect. There we go. Let's just paint left to right. And there we have a little door detail. Now we just painted all that literally with the brush tool, okay? And then this noise layer right on top of it, that's what makes it look realistic. So here's a regular brush tool, here's with that noise detail on top of it, and it just matches the photograph right next to it. How cool is that? Okay, now we want to just select our subject because we don't want them included in this, right? So let's just make this layer invisible. I'm going to click here on my background layer. We're going to go to Select and then down here to Select Subject. Perfect. So you can see my subject is selected, looking good. Now here on our paint layer, let's just go ahead and click here on our layer mask icon. Now this happens a lot. It just did the opposite of what I want. So we're going to click on our layer mask and just hit Control-Command-I. Here we go. So now I'm on my paint layer. I can literally paint whatever I want. Like if I just grab this color and paint right here, I can just paint and it's not going to affect my subject. How cool is that? So we're totally set up, and let's go continue with our removal. So B for the brush tool. There we go. By the way, you can still use tools like the clone stamp tool on this paint layer. Okay, you don't have to only use the brush tool. This is not a public service announcement to say that, you know, the clone stamp tool is no longer useful. That's not true. But I do, you know, I want to shed some light and, you know, give some props to my friend the brush tool, because it's super duper powerful. So this is all with the brush tool. I can come in here anytime with the clone stamp tool. Remember, if you want to paint just straight up or down or just left and right, you can do that by just holding Shift when you have the brush tool selected. There we go. So here I'm going to hold Shift, paint straight up and down. Okay, painting some door detail. Paint some shadow in there. And we're just going to basically just get like a much cleaner selection and a much cleaner out of focus area than we would had we tried to use clone stamp, spot healing brush, even the regular healing brush, tools like that. Okay, fantastic. I love these techniques. I think they're so helpful. Definitely a little bit more advanced, so, you know, keep that in mind. But, you know, boom, you get to practice your brush skill tools. brush tool skills. As I said earlier, I didn't get the most sleep last night, so I'm a little bit out of it, but I'm excited about this and I really wanted to make this tutorial. All right, fantastic. There we go. How cool is this, right? Okay, so that's like a doorway, right? We just like repainted that doorway in, looking good. There we go. Let's just try to blend everything together just a little bit more. All right, you can just hit undo if you do something you don't like, you know, which is, we're just human, so we all make mistakes. There we go. That's looking pretty good, I gotta say. I'm pretty happy with that. And literally, like, who's to say what was back there before? Like, I don't, no idea, you know. It's a total mystery. It's very difficult to tell. The door looked better like that? I don't know. Kind of get to learn a lot about like perspective and, you know, other things like that when you, because we're painting right now. This is painting in Photoshop, you know, like for real. A little bit of reflected light on the bottom of the door. Bring in some of this red color into the ground right there with a really low flow. All right. There we go. Now that's looking pretty good. Okay, so let's get rid of these people here. Like, it's super easy to do. B for the brush tool, just like literally paint them in. Okay, grab some of this white area, simply paint it down. All right, some of this orange detail, I don't know what that is. Hold shift if you want to just paint straight up and down, that can really help. There we go, and just like painting in random background detail. I don't know what this is. Let's zoom in. You can see I'm not like super zoomed in for this entire process because you don't really need to be. You kind of want to see things like as a whole rather than like focusing on all the tiny little details. It'll help make your painting look a little bit more cohesive. Fantastic, and let's go ahead and just paint this. Paint that in. Boom. Bye-bye person in the background, right? Let's kind of fade that in there. I don't know what that is, but random detail, because the hair selection was only so-so that came out of my select subject. Usually select subject is right on with hair detail, but this hair detail from select subject was okay. You know, not the best, not the worst, but totally okay. There we go. Can you paint hair? Is that what you're asking? Is someone asking that? Yeah, you can. If you want to create a new layer, hit B for the brush tool. You can just sample hair, and then I'm gonna hit R for my rotate canvas, okay? And then just like paint hair. So like literally just with my brush tool, paint some hair back over there. Choose some light colored hair too. You don't want all the hair to be the same color because it's not, and it, you know, it hits light different. Okay, some light brown hair. There we go. Boom. Just painted hair over there, filled that area up, and wow, we are good to go. All right, I think I just need to fix this area up just a little bit. Alt or Option to sample that color. And boom. That is looking really, really good. And I can be confident that anywhere that I paint with the brush tool already has the exact texture that I want for the photograph built into it. How cool is that? I am just super, super excited. I think this should be kind of like at an angle there. I think I got my perspective wrong. There we go. So yeah, like I said, you know, we get to learn about perspective rules, things like that. I think that's what was bothering me so much, is like, you know, was not really the right perspective, right? It should go back at an angle like that. There we go. That looks better, right? And put some shadow on that door there. I just want it to look good. All right. I know this is a little bit more advanced. I'm going to make sure to put that in the title. But how cool is this, that you can literally just remove anything you want from the background just by painting it away and have the exact texture that you need to make it look realistic. All right. Are we happy with that? I don't know. This door is, that's the trickiest part. I didn't even expect that. Sometimes some things are easier than you expect. Sometimes things are harder than you expect. That door was the hardest part. All right. I think that looks pretty good. Someone out there is going to do a much better job at this, and I'm going to be very impressed. Fantastic. Well, that looks pretty good. Let's just turn this off and on and see. There we go. I think we're looking pretty good. Let's just fuzzy up that door a little bit. I'm just going to stay. I'm going to dream about this door tonight. The door. I should have made the angle 5 degrees the other way. There we go. Fantastic. All right, I think that looks good. If I don't stop right now, I'm gonna go absolutely crazy and just keep painting a door for the rest of my life. Not useful for any of us. Hey, thanks so much for watching this tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed it. Good luck with your painting. It's so much fun. It really is a fantastic skill to have. I'm gonna put advanced in the title of this tutorial because it kind of turned out to be a little bit more advanced. If you want to get free tutorials from PHLEARN, just hit that subscribe button on our channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video. I went a little bit more in depth, took a little bit more time, did a longer video. So let me know if you like this format. We can keep making them. Thank you so much. Don't forget, you can download all this on PHLEARN.com. Follow the link down below, and I'll PHLEARN you later. Bye, everyone.